that you succeed in this beautiful project you've picked up, not only for your sake, but for the sake of our country and all the companies who are working together. Thank you very much, Mr. Krishnan. Thank you. So we break for lunch, and I am hoping that you don't wait for the university music to play before we reconvene, which should happen at 2 o'clock. It's 1:15 in my watch. Let us please be back in the hall by 2. Please enjoy your meal. Thank you.
Let's do this. Can we see if you guys can clap louder than me? Like I'm low.
Got the mic man back. Thank you, sir. Applause for her, please. Mr. Amit Agarwal. Do we have Mr. Anirudh in the room? Anirudh on stage for a memento. Mr. Krishnan. Do we have Mr. Krishnan in the room? Okay, we'll wait to hand it over to him. Let's move on. Mr. Krishnan, perfect timing. Can we please have you on stage, sir? Please join me in welcoming him on stage. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sir. Thank you, sir. Let's move on to our next speaker, who's a technical evangelist with InMobi. His accomplishments include 16 plus years of excellence in conceptualizing, designing, and architecting solutions for data and business intelligence, stack that spans digital marketing. Please welcome Mr. Rohit Chadar, a specialist in translating business goals to data and BI enabling via technology architecting, and design large data warehouses and BI system ranging from 500 TB to multi-petabytes on Hadoop plus Hive plus H-based systems. Welcome, sir.
Sundar was standing between you guys and lunch, and I'll be standing between you guys and sleep. So if you guys sleep, I'm gonna blame it on lunch, not on me. So let's go ahead. So I'll start with the questions. How many people are actually from a data background? Oh, quite a few. I'm gonna have a tough time. Okay. How many of you actually know ad network? Oh, very few. Okay, I'm gonna focus more on ad network. So, Okay. That's a little brag about me. I know that most of the people are not interested, so I'm going to move to the next. So, because most of the people are not from the ad network, I'm just going to give a quick rundown on it. Today, everybody uses app, right? Like games app, utility apps, all those things, right? And in India, it seems Subway Surfer is pretty popular, right? A lot of people play Subway Surfer, even or some of the games at office, right? Hardcore games or midcore games. And while you're playing, you suddenly see something pops up, right? That's what ad network is doing to you. You know, while you're playing, you see some ad, and then you click on it, and you discover a new app. You discover a game that you like, and then when you get bored with it, you discover another game or another utility app. That's what ad network does. It tries to find users who would be interested in knowing more apps that's more relevant to them. And that's where we apply the whole science and whatever data and stuff to say that we serve the ad to the user at the right time, though we are not that good at it. I mean, most of them. If people would have liked ads, then we would have been like $1 trillion company, but yeah. So we intrusively show up, but sometimes we do make sense to some people, and hence that's where the bread and butter starts coming in. So like Sundar talked about, he had an experience and he could actually drive analytics. But I'm going to flip around a little bit and say how we engineers, who only make 20% of difference in this world, of maybe 15%, but how they can actually, without going into the fields, they can discover the pattern. And one of the example actually happened with me. I was at Yahoo. How many of you have used finance.yahoo.com? Probably none, right? Yeah, it's more popular in US. Okay. So if you go on finance.yahoo.com and you are like having a stock there, and if you click or search on any stock, so the stock that you search first shows up first, and then you search the second, the first becomes second and second becomes first. So most of the people in the web analytics world, they take this position in that module as like a critical piece of analytics. And we saw that the finance.yahoo.com had the data which was like second or third very popular property. And out of this whole thing, and if you just like forget about data science now, just a simple pie chart, do by the module, and you see that one module is like crazy, 80% traffic coming from it. And then you dig deeper saying that what is happening, and you see, you know what, the too many stocks ranks changing. So you go back and talk to the team who designed the whole web page user interaction and say, how important is this for you for the analysis? This is only for user experience. We don't even use this. Imagine 80% of the data churning was wasted all this time, and I didn't have to go into the field and talk to anybody just by looking at that simple pie chart. That's the power of the data that you can bring in to the company, and you can save like 80% cost in processing just for that particular property. So one of the things that in Mobi that we focus on, and I also wanted to ask this question to Sundar, is do we really inculcate data-driven thinking? I'm sure, maybe I can't say 100%, but I will go close to 99.99% of the companies, they think of this product first, and they say, you know what, oh data आ जाएगा, report generate कर लेंगे, या तुम Excel में निकाल देना. That's it. The thing is, in today's world, if you want to scale, you have to focus on data first while even thinking of a product. Today, even most of the product managers, what they do is they see the adoption of a product based on the data that they see from the fields. They don't have to go anywhere. So that's why data-driven thinking is very, very important. And in Mobi, we take it really very, very, very seriously. And hence, the product guys, they're like semi-techies and they only talk data. So somebody comes and says, oh, you know what, this is not working. And the second follow-up thing is, how do you know it's not working? Show me the data. And hence, that culture has been inculcated. So I'm going to talk about the whole data story and why data becomes very important. The second part is, how do we show the thought leadership? One is, taking it as a culture. Two, also taking it to the next level. So these are the two parts that I'm going to talk mostly about. So when you get data, it's like large data. So when you see this ad, so when the app opens it fires a request to the ad network. It could be going to Facebook, Google, InMobi, and it gives the data back, right? The ad back. Now, many times you don't even see an ad, but the ad actually showed up. I mean, not showed up, it's there in your cache of a mobile, right? Now, this is data. The first step.
Final है कभी I love you.
There's a ghost here. So you have, that's the first step towards the data, right? That the request came, and post that the whole 9 yards starts. The request came, the ad served, did the user see an ad? If he saw an ad, how do I know he saw an ad? If he really saw an ad, did he click? Did he really click, or it was a fraud, right? Because, and there's a revenue model that makes sense to different publishers. Some publishers gets paid, the app is called a publisher. So these app guys who develops this app, because otherwise they'll not make money and they'll go bankrupt. So if you click on that ad, that guy gets money. And the reason he gets money because he engaged you in an app, and then you click on an ad and the ad network pays for it, right? You clicked on it, the click got received. After that, if you download it or not download it. If you download it, then, we charge an advertiser and the guy gets the money if it's a, install-based billing. Imagine, all this data has to be connected to say that this is a valid request happened. That's the large amount of data that InMobi has to process. So that's the raw data. Now, converting that raw data into processing and saying that, this was a valid impression, this was a valid click, this was a valid install, and after install, if somebody purchased, this was a valid purchase. That's the insight, and we're going to talk more on the insight part later. The question is, if I go and show ad to everybody, all ads to everybody, InMobi will go bankrupt, because then you can't pay that, because advertisers are not going to pay money. Hence, the data science has to come in saying that, how do I know which user to show which ad at what time, so that he's interested in really downloading and not getting annoyed. Sometimes showing too much of an ad is an annoyance, and people just say, I am opting out. That's bad. So that's where the insight spots come in. Okay. So in a nutshell, I'm going to cover like device, geolocation, app site, and a user. A user is nothing, in this case, a device. Geo is from which location are you coming? Because if geo is like some remote village, obviously the connectivity part and the exposure part is going to be low. So you want to make sure that you're not showing them an ad of like 100 MB download versus like 5 MB, 10 MB download types, right? So that kind of inference you have to make, and again that insight piece comes in. And then which app, which user has to download. So if you put all these things together to make sure that we identify the data is not just our ad network data that we can use, we have to also consume third-party data, which is like BlueKai, Mobilewala, and stuff like that. And then we also use, like Q4 is like a festival season. So you really need to make sure you have the right, for the right country, you have the right content, so that, that even the look, for example, if it's a Halloween, right, in US, it should look a little spooky, then people get engaged. Just simple changes. And you have to all make sure that it gets embedded into the system so it starts working, right? So that's the, the public data, holidays and stuff like that. All combined together creates a large data set. And, these are like how many downloads happened, who purchased where, when I drove the download, did he purchase, or did somebody else download and he purchased, or they organically, which means, nobody influenced and downloaded and stuff like that. So all that data keeps coming in, and I'm going to show about the size of the data. Given that all this data is coming in, what do we do with it? And most of the companies, and if you talk to most of the non-tech CEOs, if you tell them, 1 million cost for the data center and, Hadoop 2000 node cluster and stuff, they just go crazy. They're like, what the heck? There's zero revenue coming out of it. And they only understand revenue, right? And they'll say, okay, if I approve, and it happens with us also, if I approve, say, 200K, what incremental revenue can you get? And we say, we don't know. Because tech guys don't promise, right? They just say, we don't know, we're going to check it out. And CEO don't like that because they want to cut the check. And hence, it becomes even difficult to sell. I think somebody did ask, I remember about that emotional analysis, emotions and stuff like that. I don't think so any company is investing yet so much other than people who are looking at the customer satisfaction. And that too, I don't know how, but through the vendor they are trying to figure it out. But yeah, nobody gives a big fat check to say, okay, you know what, do research and I'll come back to you. So that difficult it is, that data science. Though it sounds very sexy, but it is very difficult. So we're going to talk about the insights. As in my talk, in some sense, I have already made some of the comments, but I'm going to talk in kind of a domain. For example, which app is doing better in which country or which geo? What kind of people are actually really downloading that? In what context? You'll be surprised. So in Subway Surfer, and this is only in India, and you'll be just the same app, Subway Surfer. How many people actually use Subway Surfer? Okay, still less. So in India, Subway Surfer is really, really working, right? Like most of the people use it. In India, is very effective. No matter whatever you show to them, people either buy, click, download. Same Subway Surfer in US doesn't work as effectively as in India, right? So geolocation and the audience that you're targeting in which geo makes a huge difference. Then from a device perspective,